welcome to the B Team Podcast. I am your host, Josh Safran, with my co-host,
Matt Mars,
and our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson.
We're here every week to talk to you about all things Bentonville, bourbon, and business. The B Team Podcast. Be here. Welcome to the B Team Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Safran, along with my co-host,
Matt Mars,
and
Rob Nelson.
Mr. Robert Nelson over there.
Robbie. Bobby.
Oh, Robbie.
Just call me Jerry.
And the best part of our segment is Mr. Russ Kempton when he comes in and visits with us. The reviews, the viewers.
The viewers.
They have spoken.
They love
as
Russ.
Rob would say.
They love Russ.
They have spoken, for
So
sure.
I found a niche where people like me.
Yeah, it's weird.
We have to find one for me now.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Josh and I, we haven't found
How's it going to
anyone.
be for you? I mean,
It's a
gonna be
problem.
minute.
It's a problem.
It's great to be back. You know,
We love having you.
You know, and it's been a few minutes, and it's great seeing you guys. And I know the last time I saw you guys, you're getting ready to get out here for a trip, and I hope that went well.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a good trip.
We made it. We're
We'll
still
discuss
alive.
that again sometime.
Not on camera.
I know this.
Definitely not on camera.
And we'll need a few bourbons.
But as everybody knows, we're here to talk Bentonville business and bourbon, and this is our bourbon segment. And Russ, we are drinking something today that is not out with the masses, right?
No, it's correct. In fact, this will be released at the end of this month and in June. It might start, splittering out into Walmarts in Missouri. So this is a Walmart exclusive. And just like, this is from Buffalo Trace. This is from 1792.
Shout out to Lisa.
Josh.
And
this is Josh's favorite. That's
so
Josh's
Stat
favorite.
This is one of their private labels being introduced.
Sorry about Rob in the background, but that's
Bottle and Bond.
Man, come on, I'm a bourbon guy.
From 1792, so you're going to get a lot of that just complexity of what Sazerac brings us. You get a lot of caramelization, and just instantly on the nose when I got it a second ago, I really found just a little bit of creme brulee and just a little bit of pudding. Vanilla
I love pudding.
Vanilla pudding. I know you guys can't resist that.
He says every time pudding, stone fruit, every time he says these things, we're like,
He sits out there and makes up.
yeah, he makes it up.
I'm getting hungry.
But you can pick up over 200 flavor notes when you try distilled spirit that's been housed in oak.
I don't
for
get any
30
stone
times.
fruit in there, though.
Well, I didn't talk about stone fruit on this specific one.
I'm getting some pepperoni pizza.
You like, what about spicy pepperoni pizza?
Yeah.
It has
Spice.
spice. You can smell some
Well, that
spice.
spice is from the oak. This is from that oak barrel influence.
This is fantastic.
Now, this is bottled in bond.
Yeah.
And I'm buying 100 proof, and
It's really good.
minimum 4 years is technically it could be called a vintage
You like this?
bourbon.
See, this is not your thing.
It's a little sweet. The finish is a little sweet.
That sugar, vanillins, those caramelized
See, I'm not
sugars.
picking up sweet on that. I'm
like the finish is a little sweet.
the finish is a little like a zip, a little tang, maybe. A little,
But it's
tangy?
interesting.
yeah,
okay.
like
Well, hangy.
All right, so then,
Like a 9-volt
so Rob,
battery.
my question would be, what did you have for lunch today?
broccoli and chicken.
Okay, broccoli, chicken.
Come on. That's what you had for lunch today?
Yeah.
So what was on the chicken? Because I'm going to tell you, it takes a minute for all that to wash through your system. And so when
It's
you're
like a cream sauce.
it's like cream. Oh, there you go. There no, seriously, you have
Okay.
a cream sauce with it.
Yeah.
That's the tang you're still getting on your palate. You're hours later.
There it is.
It's got a little zing in it.
A little zing.
That's it. That's that creaminess. That's why when I do my bourbon events where there's a lot of food involved, I'd like oils and vinegars and creams for that same reason. You don't want that tanginess.
See, I mean, this way you and I make such a great team. Forget these other two nitwits.
Now, so is this one? Do we need to put any?
Yeah, we're adding water to this one too. So
Sorry
come back
to trying to
neat.
you guys out.
Come back neat, and then just add those couple drops of water. That's going to release the complexity of the spirit. It's going to break down that molecular structure.
You're saying two, right?
Yes.
I did
It's bringing out
three.
these
Just
trap
to-
flavors.
I did
after,
4.
during
I'm an
fermentation,
overachiever.
Distillation and maturation. Oh, wow. I mean, this one for me,
Seems like it opened it up.
it's almost like now a fresh cut vanilla bean for me. And I get a little bit of black licorice, and that vanilla pudding has really dissipated.
Chocolate pudding for you?
I like it with a few drops better.
You did?
Yep.
I don't.
Because I know you were negative up front.
I would say negative.
Yeah,
but
like
just the finish
But
was a
then all of a
little.
sudden you said, wow, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely different.
But it just shows you with the water or without. We've talked about this for months, right?
Yeah.
about if we can have 8 whiskeys in front of us, and you might say 4 needs water, 4 did not. Maybe it's 2 and 6 and 6 and 2. And it just shows you on this one how complex the spirit is by itself. For a 4-year-old bottle and bond, it's going to be new to the 99% of the consumers walking into Walmart and Jane here in a couple of weeks. They're going to go in there and go, wow, I've never heard of this bottle and bond. Oh, by the way, it says 1792, which is Sazerac, and that's one of their other distilleries, and it's going to hit a home run, right out of the gate.
What do you think the price range will be on that?
I think ballpark it should be, because the regular Stedman, I believe, is right around $25-30.
Okay.
I think this is going to inch up, because, Evan Williams' bottle and bond is out there for about $15-18.
Okay.
I would think with a Walmart exclusive, a Walmart private label, I'm thinking no more than
Low
35.
30s.
Yeah,
That's
no
what I
more than
was thinking.
35.
What's interesting to me, because we've done a bunch of these, is the stuff that you seem to like, I don't, and vice versa. And it's interesting, your palate is different,
right?
which is why it's...
So I'm Italian.
Yeah, maybe that's why you guys don't like each other.
We like each other quite a bit.
I mean, we put up with each other.
Oh. Okay.
But on a scale of 1 to 5, and 5 being the best, we're all trying this for the first time, including me. Generally one of us have tried one of these before, right? When we've done these multiple tastings, and so we're all having this for the first time, the 4 of us. Scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to give this about a 4.5. So that's it. That's a gold.
So I would have given it a 4.5 before I put water in it. With water, I don't like it as much.
Really?
No.
It flatlined it a little bit?
Yeah, it gave it a different taste.
No, I agree with Matt, and I would tell you the connotation of private label is private label, right? This is good. Like, I would buy this.
That's good.
I would buy
this.
It's
good. But I wouldn't put water in it again.
No.
I would just have it neat.
So can I tell you about another 1792 brand, Kirkland? From Costco.
Yep.
A couple years ago, Whiskey's the World competition, I was a judge in San Francisco. This outlier, what's this brand doing in here? We don't know what it is, who it is at the end. They release all the whiskeys that we give best in show, gold, silver, bronze. Kirkland from 1792, Barton, I gave it a gold medal. And it's very similar to this.
It is similar to this.
It really is. Again, that has about as much age as this one, but I think what they do is 1792 should not be looked past. I think a lot of people think it's 1792. It's not Buffalo Trace. So people say A up here, B down here. I can put them up together side by side.
I agree.
I think that's where it goes back to. It's not about the label.
No.
And it's not about the price.
Thing, really.
Well, we talked about it many times. Everybody gets excited in here about Buffalo Trace and Blands, but with the 1792 stuff that we've drank in here, I actually like quite a bit more. Like that bottle and bond that we did that time.
I mean, it's got a great color.
Yes.
Don't
really
spill
great
it.
color.
Yeah, don't spill that.
I'm not going to spill it.
Making us nervous.
It's making me very
It's a little dark mahogany,
So now,
kind of like brown sugar.
I wonder if Sam's will get that in a 175 like the Kirklands.
Ooh, that's a Lisa question we should ask.
If Kirklands did that you get the 175.
Hey, we need to give a
Okay,
shout out
so
to
here's-
Lisa
just to
as
peel-
well. Yeah.
To peel the curtain back a little bit on that, when there's these private label or mainstream releases, making a 1.75, that's an expensive proposition, the bottling and everything. A lot of distilleries will say, where are we going with our 750s or our 375s? And then down the road, they will come out with a 1.75 if the consumer is asking for it.
Yeah.
This is consumer driven, right?
Absolutely.
And I think the consumer tried this for the first time here in a few weeks when they go up to Jane or whenever they're out in the Ozarks of Missouri where they are for the summertime. They pop in and see this. Now they have a recognition that I've never seen before. Because again, 9 times out of 10, people are going to buy and walk by that label and not buy it. But now they have a good referral, a good recommendation from the 4 of us.
No, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. And it's shout out to Lisa, shout out to Sazerac. They always take such good care of us.
Great care of us.
Thank you, Russ. This was delicious.
Thank you, Russ.
Always,
Cheers.
gentlemen. It was great. Good seeing you.
Welcome back to the B Team Podcast. I am your host, Josh Safran, along with my permanent guest
Rob Nelson.
and our co-host.
And Matt Mars.
And we're here every Thursday talking about all things Bentonville, business, and bourbon. But today we're adding another B, biking.
Yes, and we have with us today Mr. Rich Drew of the Ride Series.
Woo!
He's Rich is a god, not only in Northwest Arkansas. He travels all around the U.S. He's super humble. But this is the kind of guy that when you're out on the trails, he loves biking so much, he stops and helps you. I mean, he's salt of the earth, and we're lucky to have
Rich,
him.
I'm not going to lie. Like, we've been asking Matt to bring in guests, and he's like, I don't know. And he's like, Rich is coming. Rich is coming. Rich is coming.
He's not big of a deal.
I'm excited, man. I appreciate you guys having me in, and it's cool, and it's just cool for me that you guys are that excited about having somebody that rides a bike here. So,
yeah.
So we
live in Bentonville, so
I've heard it's the mountain bike capital of the world.
Rumor has it.
yeah.
Let's do a toast to you. And Matt, thank you. Because we're adding value by bringing in Rich, which is great.
He's the... So the first time I met Rich, me and like 3 of my buddies, a bunch of middle-aged dudes, all went and got our bikes, and we're out riding, and we're wanting to do this little gap jump. And Rich rides up, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, well, we're trying to jump that. And he's like, well, they're all designed. If you ride it at the speed of the trail, you'll just go right over it. And
how is he not laughing out loud at this point?
Well, I know he had to be laughing because we watched the video. It's like this much of a gap. But to us, it was like
jumping the crane jump.
But I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And that's a very important thing, is that context is so important, because everybody talks about jumping a bike, but what they don't realize is the psychological component of it. And that's what you guys were dealing with.
Yeah.
Like, for me to laugh at your feelings about that, those feelings are real. Like, your brain was looking at that going, dude, that's the Grand Canyon.
Your feelings are real, man.
No, we were.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, and so most people, not Rich, would have just gone right by and been like those guys. But he stopped and he's like, hey, this is what you guys need to do. And he sat there and told us what we did wrong, what we did right, and how to fix it. And I mean, I think that's why your ride series that you do is so important.
But what I'm hearing you say is Rich thought of you the way that, like, Rob and I and you would think of the guy on the corner asking for $1. Like, you have to stop and help out that person in need.
He didn't want to stop, but he felt like it was a service that he had to do.
It's a really weird comparison.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from, but okay.
But he felt bad for Matt the way that he did. Somebody needs $1 in the street.
Well, I mean, This guy, he can ride a wheelie for a half a mile and talk to you while he's riding a wheelie.
Part of it is my background. Like, when you grow up doing that, it makes more sense. It's like drinking this stuff. There's people who kind of grow up drinking this stuff, and they're good at it. They know what to do. It's part of them. Mm-hmm. The bike is the same. My brother's 7 years older than me, so when I was 5, he was my hero. Like, that dude was ripping BMX, and he was really good. And so I wanted to be like him. And so let's get a bike. And then not long after that, I realized he didn't want to ride bikes. He wanted to ride motocross. And so, boom, it was ride motocross.
A whole nother deal.
It is a whole nother deal, but it's a very interesting thing. This day and age, where we're at, if you look at the best riders in the world, the majority of them rode BMX, and some of them also rode motocross. And if you did those two things, and you're trying to be a high-level mountain bike rider, those are 2 cheat codes. So if you're competing against somebody who doesn't have either of those backgrounds, you have a distinct advantage. And like riding a wheelie, a prime example is so many people now, our age, that's what they want to do. Like, the ultimate party trick is, dude, I got to do a wheelie. And it's really difficult. And
very makes it look so easy.
But again, what you have to appreciate is when I learned to do it, I was 6, 7, 8 years old. My brain wasn't fully formed, and it wasn't in a situation where it was telling me, hey, man, this is bad. If you flat back it like a porpoise, you're not paying your mortgage.
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing for people to realize. Like, you look at it and go, oh, dude, why is it so easy for you? Part of it is because it's programmed. Like, my brain developed with jumping a bike, with wheeling being a normal thing. And that's something that if you don't have respect for that or appreciate that, it's going to make it much harder for you to reconcile where you're at. And that's why that jump for you was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, there's parity in the sense that I feel that same way, but what I'm looking at is something that's much bigger. But it's the same thing. Yeah. My brain is processing the same thing.
So did Matt get the jump? Did he?
No, I got it.
You did?
Yeah.
Now, a few weeks later, my confidence is way up here.
Oh, yeah.
And I did a big one up at... It was up in Bella Vista. I think it's up on the Wonderland Trail up there.
Oh,
there was a big gap to me. And I did the flying scorpion off of that thing. I just tumbled down. And I mean, it was fun. I mean, I had a wing.
Any video of that? Any pictures?
No, there's no video, luckily.
You got to get strategic with that. Like,
Yeah.
video.
But that's why he gives these classes because smart people would just hire him. And I think you do individual or groups to where he walks you through like every step of all this stuff. So when you come up to a drop that you didn't expect, this is what you have to do, or what, then that's what, I mean, I think he's got, I think you're really good. Like your wife rides with you.
Yeah.
Now you guys have your
She's my
son.
boss.
Is he riding
My
now?
son's ripping now, dude. He's getting really good, and it's kind of cool because
He's going to be schooling you before long.
So maybe, it's a possibility. I'm gonna foster that if it's there. But that's been a very interesting dynamic because
How old is he?
he's going to be 8.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
He's
Yeah.
8.
And so but what it comes back to is I'm very cognizant of that space. And there's a lot of people, a lot of fathers that push their children into this and vicariously live through them. I didn't want any part of that. And especially here, it's challenging because everywhere we go, people are like, oh, dude, you're going to be this or you're going to be that. And as soon as those people walk away, I tell them, buddy, you be whatever you want to be. Like, if you want to ride bikes at a high level, that's awesome. I'll support you. But all I want is for you to be passionate about something. And, I grew up kind of in that mold or that environment, and it's easy to get burnt out. And what I come back to is I want them to be as athletic as possible. Like, there's no downside to being the best athlete you can be. And he's a gnarly kid. So my hope was, dude, I want to get him into jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. And he's been doing that for almost 4 years, and he loves it.
That's
and the kid is a gnarly athlete, like so much so, he'll do freestanding handstand push-ups at almost 8 years old. Yeah, like we have this battle in the house right now because he thinks he's the handstand man. And I have to come in and say, no, bro,
handstand,
I
yeah.
may be 46, but I still got you.
You always got to remind them a little bit. Like my daughter's like, Dad, she plays JV for the basketball team. Dad, I could take you. I'm like, old out of shape dad will still remind you.
Yep.
And put you back in your place.
Yeah, it's got to be done every once in a while.
Yes.
And, you got to do it in a motivating manner. And that's, I think, is the goal. But yeah, my wife is my boss. So very much a cottage industry. It's a very small thing. And it's just, I think it's a cool story. Like I don't get to tell it a whole lot because people don't understand. They're like, oh, dude, you've been on a bike your whole life. I have, but I never forecasted or thought I would be making a living on a bike at 46. Like I raced BMX for many, many years. Into my 20s, I raced motocross for a long time. And I got my first mountain bike in 1988, like way back when they started. And I rode mountain bikes forever, but on a whim in 2014, I decided to do a cross-country race. Just like, I got a bike. Let's try it and see. And my thought, this is awesome. People are going to love this. My thought was, I'm pretty damn good. Like, I can't start where most people start. So I email the organization that sanctions it, and I'm like, look, I'm really good. I want to be fair to people. Oh, yeah, you know where this is going. So there's 3 categories. There's category 3, 2, and 1.
Perfect on our podcast.
Oh, dude, it's just anybody who has any semblance of this world, they're laughing right now because they know. So I say, I'll settle to ride category 2 because it's more, you do multiple laps instead of 1. I got this. And you got to keep in mind, too, I'll set it up a little bit better. I'm doing CrossFit at the time, so I can pretty much do anything at a high level.
So early right now, but
Yeah, it's like you do CrossFit, you can do anything. So I show up for this race, and I have baggy shorts on, a sleeveless jersey, so I can intimidate with the guns. And everybody I'm racing against, full Lycra. And I'm like 200 pounds at this point. The next heaviest person's maybe 160. Like super serious.
So you said, oh,
bikes.
shit, I'm in trouble.
I'm thinking this may have been a bad choice. So the gun goes off, and I do this full BMX power wheelie. Because my thought is, I'm going to show these people what's up right now.
The power wheelie.
Power
the
wheelie.
beginning.
And intimidate a little bit. So, dude, for like 90 seconds, I am on top of the world. And then all of a sudden, I thought I was going to die. I thought my heart was just going to explode out of my chest. And so everybody passes me. Everything's going dark. I can't see, like I can't form coherent thoughts. And then the craziest thing happened. I caught everybody, and I started passing people. Now, mind you, this was in Dallas. This is the flattest course there could be. And so now I'm thinking, I don't understand what's going on. And we pop out in the open sections, and everybody passes me back. So I quickly realized all these people are super fit, but they're not very good on a bike. So I get done, I got 13th, and now I'm really fired up. And so I asked somebody, hey, what do I need to do to get this fitness? They said, dude, you need to get a road bike. So I got a road bike, and I started hammering miles out on a road bike. Well, about 6 months later, I did my first pro cross-country race.
In the baggy shorts and the tank top?
No.
That was one and done.
I was full lycra. One and done. Full lycra. Full hardtail, like I owned it. And it was really cool because I did really well in that race. And it was almost like a light switch moment. Like, man, now I'm a professional mountain bike racer. And I remember the dude, one of the guys I was battling with, he ended up winning that race. He's a Red Bull athlete now. And he was really young then. And I remember him looking at me saying, hey, man, I don't mean to be rude, but like, who the hell are you? Nobody knows who you are, and you're kind of old. Like, what's your story? And I'd moved up from category 2, 35, 39 the week before to do this race. And the kid, the look on his face was priceless. Like, he's, what? He goes, dude, how long have you been racing? And I said, 6 months. And he said, dude, how did you get so good in 6 months? And I said, I didn't get good in 6 months. I've been on a bike since I was 5. So I have more two-wheel experience than you'll probably ever have in your life, and a more diverse set of it. I'll never be as light as you, and I'll never be as fit as you. But I'm leveraging my ability to ride a bike better than you. And he's like, yeah, dude, that was gnarly. And so that was when the ride series started. Essentially because of that, people said, dude, can you help me? Like, you must know some secret. And for a few seconds, I thought maybe I do know a secret. And I called my brother. I was like, dude, what's this secret I know? And he said, you idiot, you don't know a secret. There is no secret, dude. It's the basics. But your life's experience have put you in a position where you understand those basics much better than almost anybody in that realm that you're existing in. And so it's kind of cool from there. You know, you look at, what do you do? And most people would say, okay, let me go get a certification with some entity and be a coach for that entity. And that was kind of the path I went down. But I started reading the curriculum. And I was being asked to teach you things I didn't do on the bike. And so that was the first red flag, because I came back to you. People are asking me to help them based on what I've done on my bike. I'm being asked to teach things I don't do on my bike. That doesn't correlate. And essentially what I said is, well, I'll just write my own. Yeah, I should write my own. And so I wrote my own curriculum and started this business, which was just a side hustle at that point. It was like, I want to help local people. And
now was that, you weren't here then, right?
So this is where it gets interesting. I was in Dallas.
It wasn't interesting yet because I am sitting on the edge of my seat.
No, because the way it gets tied into this place is super cool. I was living in Dallas, and I worked in the automotive marketing space. So at that point, my career was as a product trainer for the Ford Motor Company. And so one of the places I went to from Dallas was this sleepy little town called Bentonville, Arkansas. So 6 years before that first mountain bike race, dude, I came here to work. I wasn't racing or riding.
What year was this? Ballpark?
Oh, man, this was probably 2009, maybe 10.
And we just had like slaughter pin.
Totally. So I go out trail running through slaughter pen, and I see these janky wooden features, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So fast forward a couple years, 2014, 2015, I get into this, and I'm coming up here. Well, every time I come up here, I bring a bike. And so the way it was set up, I had Monday to drive here, Tuesday to work here, and Wednesday to drive home. Well, it just so happens the local dealership I went to, they said, hey, man, can you come in at like 8 in the morning? We'll give you like 8 to 10 to train everybody. Like, we don't want to take the whole day. Just get it done. Yeah. I thought,
he's like, yes.
Man, as tough as that is, I'll do that for you. So I leave early Monday. I get here, I ride. I work Tuesday morning. I ride all day Tuesday. I ride Wednesday morning, and I go home. And while I'm doing this, of course, I have my phone out because there's this thing called Instagram. And so I'm taking pictures and I'm taking videos. Well, what happens is nobody knows why I'm here. The majority of people in this world, they're not like, oh, that dude works for the Ford Motor Company, so he's up here working. They're like, no, that guy's legit. He comes here for 3 days to ride bikes. Like, that's a legit thing.
It was genius.
What was funny was that wasn't necessarily the intent. Yeah. I wasn't thinking in my mind, oh, let me create this facade I can work myself into. It just happened. And basically, long story short, I saw the growth in the place. I understood what was going to happen. And I went home one day and I said to my wife, hey, babe, what do you think about moving to Arkansas?
She's like, huh?
And she said, probably not a chance at all, but, I'll entertain it. She was born in Houston, raised in Houston. She went to Texas A&M. She was recruited to go to Dallas. And so she was a big city girl. And she came up here. Our son was 18 months at the time, and she loved it. And so I got buy-in from her, and we were driving home. And she said, well, what's your plan? And I said, my plan is no plan. My plan is I know I have something to bring to this place. We can sell our house, we can make some money, and we can have a year to probably figure it out.
Now, was this pre-Tom and Stewart, around the same time that they were getting?
No, this was very much on the heels of what they were doing. Because at that point, I'd never met them, but I'd had some email correspondence with them. I came up here to do a private clinic with a race team, so the best riders in this area, and they were supposed to be there, but they couldn't at the last minute. So I somewhat had some correspondence with them, and I had a decent platform at the time. Like in this area, I had a bit of a name. So when I came here, I was the first one here. Like there was really nobody that had my skill set here yet. Because you got to think, in 2018, there were still a lot of people that were thinking, what is that place? There was a lot of people that didn't even know about it.
Yeah. Well, all we had was we had Slaughter Pin and all that. I think the Bella Vista Loop was done, but that's about it.
Back 40 was
Back 40, and that's...
Well, what they did, Tom Stewart, Gary Vernon is another one. That dude, he's an absolute legend. You want to talk about local legends, it's that guy, because that guy, Tom and Stewart are amazing dudes, and they're super passionate about all of this, which makes this place that much more of an outlier.
Yep.
But they're two people. They can only do so much. And by putting Gary in the position that he's been in, he's been able to put this team of people together to go execute. Like I have conversations like this a lot. They're like, well, it's just the Walton money. It's the Walton money. I tell them, no, it's not. I was in Dallas. Yes. There's more money in Dallas collectively than there is here.
Yeah.
None of that stuff's happening. You have to have the money, but you have to have the political will, and you have to have community buy-in, and you have to have the people that can do it.
What's interesting for me is, so I'm in the supplier community. I got moved down here in 2010. And so the ongoing joke was, hey, you just moved here. Do you work for Walmart or a supplier, right? And 9 times out of 10, I work for one or the other. Yeah. But it's changed so significantly. And a year ago, I was sitting at Onyx, and there was a mother and a daughter there. And she's talking about how she's down from Minneapolis. And I go, oh, you're relocating from Target. I'm thinking in my head, as a supplier. So I started having this conversation with her. And I said, oh, do you work for Walmart or supplier? She goes, no. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing then? She goes, my daughter and I just came down here to bike for the weekend. I go, you know nobody here? She goes, no, I know nobody. I said, so you just came down for the weekend with your daughter to bike? She goes, yeah. I go, holy crap, like this has morphed so much in the last few years. That never happened before, right? Yeah. Nobody knew about this place, and now people are coming here specifically to bike.
Yeah, yeah. And what's funny about that story is our best market, Minneapolis. Our best market all around Minneapolis, hands down.
Why?
Because there's
so
many people. Exactly. And what I didn't realize was they have riding seasons. So if you have a riding season, it's just like skiing. When you get back into that season, you invest in yourself to maximize your season. So we go do these events right when the weather turns to good in Minneapolis, and we get all these fill. Like we've had to add sessions. Well, the next year we go back, it's a lot of the same people. And I said, why do you guys come back? Like, this is what we do. We're investing in ourselves to prep for our season. I'll ride all season, and then I'll put the bike away for however many months. I need to come back. It's worth it for me to pay $300 to $600, spend a day with you, and hopefully not injure myself down the line. But yeah, people, like we did an event at Bentonville Bike Fest last year. We had jump sessions. We had a guy come from Australia. Like there's people coming from all over the world. And it's because the marketing is there, and Tom's a pretty savvy dude. Like the mountain bike capital of the world, that was him, dude. He trademarked that. He went to a local filmmaker named Garrett Hubbard, and he said, dude, I need you to cut me something together that says mountain bike capital of the world, knowing full well the storm that it was going to cause.
Garrett, he's a shred. He's good too.
Garrett, he's won the.
Notice how he said shred? Like he's
a shredder. Yeah. You look on Strava, and he has a whole bunch of the.
Well, he's won the men's pro class in the Arkansas Enduro Series for 3 years running. So yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
There's people from everywhere. Like if you go on any given weekend downtown, hang out at Onyx, and just look, you can see the telltale signs. They're dressed in their riding clothes, and it's really cool to just ask them, hey, where are you in town from? Because it's from all over.
It's shocking. But it's not the way it used to be.
No, and it's because the culture and the community has changed. And this is where I think it's hard for somebody who's been in it for a long time to appreciate. Like, if you've been riding forever and you ride at a certain level and you come from a mountain town, this place may not be for you. But the beauty is, it's not for you. It's not meant for you. This place is meant for the majority of mountain bike riders. And the majority of mountain bike riders, as a percentage, they don't want to ride mountains. They want to ride stuff that looks like this, that looks like a giant remote control car track, that is generally very safe, is very progressive, and has a greenway a stone's throw from it. So when you decide, holy crap, I'm tired, I can just hop on the greenway and leave. And while I'm doing this, I'm seeing some of the most amazing art in the world. And when I go back downtown, which is not that far away, I can have incredible coffee, I can eat great food, and I can also go to one of the two of the finest art museums in the world,
all here in Bentonville.
Well, and when you say that, so I used to ride a lot, and I don't obviously very much anymore. But I need to start. I got an e-bike from Rich. So
you got to get back in. Do you shred?
Yeah,
he shreds.
But we all talked, and we were like, let's go to Moab. That's like the holy grail place to go. So we all loaded up, and for a week we did the whole enchilada.
Oh yeah,
we did all the things, and on the way home we were like, it was cool out there, but it's better here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to say that because it is the mountain biking capital of the world. Like we have we have everything that you could want here.
For the majority of people.
For 12 months a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard to compare. That's what it comes back to is we're to the point now where there's a lot of people that know about this place. There's a lot of people that have come, that have experienced it. Most of those experiences are incredibly positive, but any people who are still holdouts, they're being heavily incentivized to come here. And now it's getting interesting. You know, in my realm, it's a weird place to be. Like, I'm a mountain bike professional.
Tell me what that means.
So I didn't say I'm a professional mountain biker.
Yeah.
The problem when you say that is people think, oh, well, you race. Nope. I did race. It was horrible. Like, I didn't have any fun. I won a championship. I won a bunch of races. You don't really make much money. But the thing about it is you don't make much money. It's incredibly dangerous, and it's not fun because you're training to try to win. You can make way more money doing essentially what I do on the content side. So what I'd say is, as a mountain bike professional, I make my living on and around the bike. So our main revenue driver is the Ride Series clinics. We do large-scale clinics in a weekend. So we have 3 sessions throughout the weekend where we can teach pretty much any level of rider. And so people say, oh, is this good for me? If you're questioning, is it good for you? Yes, it's good for you. And what's interesting about it is trying to get our product to stand apart from others. Like, it's... I guess I would equate it this way. With that realm, I am a professional in a profession that doesn't exist. And so one way I could equate it is, if to get all your construction needs done, you had people that on the weekends, they did construction. Monday through Friday, they were an accountant or an attorney. But man, on the weekends, dude, I'm all in, dude. I'll do your construction for you. And what I come back to is, I don't know, like, are you a true professional? And my question is, if you don't do it all the time or on a regular basis, it's really hard for you to be a professional. And unfortunately, in that world, it's just hard because it's not there. And it's crazy because if you think about it, if you want to get better golfing, you hire a golf pro, which can't be bought. That moniker can't be purchased. It has to be earned. You want to get better at tennis? You hire a tennis pro. Again, that moniker's earned. You want to get better riding a mountain bike, which you can die on. Anybody can do that. Any one of you 3, I could have you fully certified to teach people in months.
I don't know about us 3.
Telling you, if you have the money.
Well, he's an amazing teacher, though.
Yeah. But that's what you do. Like, so if I wanted to work with you or pay for you, like, how does that whole thing work?
Oh, it's super cool. My wife, my boss.
Smart man.
She had our website rebuilt. So it's the rideseriesmtb.com. So if you go to the website, you can see all the clinics that we're having all over the country, but there's also a page dedicated to private coaching. So if you click on it, it basically outlines everything that I can do for you, private coaching, and you can schedule it there. So all of the time that I have available is there. So it's an easy click. Once you do that and you book it, you fill out this short dossier so that I get that email to me and I can see exactly what you want. So it's up to you to go as in depth as you want to tell me what you're after.
So you're curating a pricing strategy for me based on...
The pricing strategy is already done.
Okay.
So my time is my time.
Okay.
So if you do a 3-hour block, and it's a 3-hour minimum. Okay. So it's roughly $600 for 3 hours, which is not cheap. Like, I don't want you to think...
It's cheap compared to crashing.
And I agree.
Yeah.
But if you're
paying for the best, you're paying for... You pay for it. Right?
Yeah.
I think so. But again, what I come back to...
But it's not for everybody, but you got more crew.
That's funny you say that. I want to make a shirt that says I'm not for everybody. And it's not. Like, it goes back to, it's pretty simple. If that's too much money for you...
You're making it.
Exactly. If that's too much money for you to swing, it's too much. But the only thing that riles me up is when people say, that's too much money. And what I say to them is, if you haven't experienced it, you can't make a value statement on it. And that's what it comes back to, is I've worked with a lot of people, and none of them have ever said, you know what, dude, can I get my money back? Like, I didn't appreciate that. That wasn't worth it. So that is one area of our business. The other is the media side. So 2020, when COVID hit, we couldn't do our events. And we had to lean into YouTube, basically, which I don't call myself a YouTuber. And I hasten to do that because I think it has a bit of a negative connotation. And that's on me. Like, I need to get over that because I am a YouTuber and I need to lean more into what YouTubers do. And it's because we're leaving a lot of potential revenue on the table. And I think the other thing is we're missing out on potentially impacting more people. You know, the cool thing about YouTube is I can make a video that a couple 100,000 people watch. Now, again, I have my intent and how it's perceived, and those don't always match. But at the very least, we can only do so many people in a clinic. So if I can make a video that helps you hit that gap jump, and then maybe hooks you into thinking, okay, maybe this guy has some more stuff that can help, then there's
so help me overcome, because I don't bike. You're not a biker.
I'll pedal.
So I used to ride dirt bikes all the time. So to me, biking's fun. I can get a little bit of exercise, and so that's why I like to mountain bike, because it's kind of like riding a dirt bike, but with the e-bike, it's really like riding it.
But the perception that I have is it's expensive. Bikes are expensive. Stuff is right. And so if I'm spending a lot of time on the bike, the ROI is great. And obviously physical fitness and all the other things are priceless. But help me understand, like, how do I get started and feel economically like it's a good thing? Obviously my heart and my health and everything else will be great. But is there an easy way to get in without spending a ton of money?
That's a really tough question to answer, and I'm going to answer it honestly. I don't think a lot of people do. It's a very expensive sport. You could categorize it as a very elitist sport, and that's by nature. I'm a very rational person, and I look at things as such. Now, that being the case, I'm okay telling people, you don't have to spend a lot of money. But what I come back to is, it's just like this stuff. You could get the cheapest... Is this bourbon? This is bourbon, right?
Yeah.
You could get the cheapest bourbon. It's bourbon, right? It'll do the job. But if you're a bourbon drinker, you're not going to like it. It's a very similar thing with bikes. So the way I'd equate it is, if you're a very athletic person, my first thing is...
Which with us three are, I mean.
What I found is...
Rich is like...
Courage...
He's talking to the wrong one. He's trying not to laugh
But
right
what it
now.
comes back to is... People joke about, like, body shape or body type. That doesn't play into your athleticism. Like, I've had people come to the events where they've put aside their athleticism for 5, 10, 15 years, and they decide, damn it, no, like, I want to become a healthier person. And they start riding mountain bikes, and I see them a year later, and they're a different person, physically and mentally. But a lot of these people, they don't go to Walmart and spend $500 on a bike. And the reason they don't do that is it's the value proposition. Like, yeah, you're spending less on the front end, but if you're an athletic person who's looking to get into this and you have the discretionary income, spend a little bit more up front. Like, one of the biggest debates is, well, should I get a hardtail or a full suspension bike? A hardtail is way more cost effective. And people come back to, well, all you need is a hardtail. All you need is a hardtail. And I always go, need doesn't necessarily have anything to do with it.
No.
What a hardtail says to me is lower back pain. So as an older rider, you have to be cognizant of that. So if you could spend another $500 to $800 on a full suspension bike, it's going to be more comfortable. I'd argue it's probably going to be safer because you're not going to get thrown offline as much, and you're probably going to have better components. So it's not just, another $500 to $800 for rear suspension. You're getting better components. Now, you may not end up needing that, but if you do, you're going to have a better experience. So that's a tough one to curate sometimes because I've had this. People have asked me, well, what should I get? What should I get? And some people, I'll tell them, oh, man, just get something basic and, grab some Russell athletic shorts and go for it because I really don't know.
Right.
But some people have asked, and I tell them, no, you need to spend $3,000, $4,000 on a good bike. You need to get all this gear. Because you're
asking them these questions up front saying, if we're going to mess around, rent a bike, try a bike, but if you're really in, this is what I'm recommending, and it's going to cost you some money.
Totally, yeah. Like we had a guy come through one of our clinics, amazing dude, former military, super athlete, and he brought a bike that was 28 years old, 26-inch rims with rim brakes. And he's like, a bike's a bike. And I went, okay. And he went, I offered him a bike. He's like, nope, I'm riding mine. I want to get better on mine because this is what I ride, which I appreciated. Went through this whole event. And after it was done, I said, hey, man, I got some bikes. I would love to let you ride a bike.
Just to see the difference.
Yeah. He's like, oh, man, I don't know. And so he texted me later and said, I'm going to take you up on that offer. And at that point in time, we weren't tied in with one brand. I had a lot of different bikes. And so I gave him this Specialized Epic Evo. So 115, 120 millimeter, perfect bike for this guy. The next step up from what he was on. And he's like, well, how much is this bike? And I said, the bike's about $5,000. And the look on his face, he just was like, what?
Horrified.
I mean, he's got a family. Like, he didn't have $5,000 to spend. So look, you don't need to spend $5,000. There are other bikes similar to this. You could get away $2,500, $3,000. It's carbon fiber. You can get aluminum. Don't worry. Just ride the bike. This is the best one I have for now. I get a text from him like 45 minutes later. Oh, my God. This is unbelievable.
I mean, the technology shift in 28 years has to be massive.
Seismic.
Yeah.
Seismic.
Well, even so when I first got into it, I was like, I'm not spending very much. So I get like a $1,500 or $1,800 bike. It was a hardtail with the suspension in the front.
Yeah.
So I'm riding it, and one of my buddies, he's like, Matt, try my bike out. And I get on it. It's like air ride. And I was like, and it was so easy to go up the hill.
But that's like with anything. Just
no, I know. But
if you're going to get into a sport or a hobby,
yeah,
totally.
You can start a little lower, but if you're going to be serious about it, you're gonna invest in it. I mean, it's like Josh, with his tennis rackets.
Yeah,
I'm sure you don't have a $5 tennis racket.
No, but you said it's a tennis racket. And then you pick it up and go, holy cow, what a huge difference.
Right. Yep.
It's going to help your game. It's lighter. It's better on your elbow, the whole 9 yards. And you go, I got to get this racket. How much is it? It's the next step up. And you go, I need it.
How much is your tennis racket?
$250.
And that's probably a pretty good tennis racket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all relative.
It's all relative.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's completely. And what's so interesting about it is there's so many different ways to go in this space. I equate it to a pendulum. And I tell people, you can be anywhere on that spectrum that the pendulum swings. You have to make that decision. And if you have $10,000 to spend on a bike, what I've told people is you can do that. You don't need to. You could spend $5,000, get an amazing bike, and have $5,000 to go take a trip somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I just try to counsel people, think about that. Because a lot of people will make comments about, oh man, my suspension, this and this and that. And I'm looking at them thinking, I don't feel what you're explaining, and I ride at a way higher level than you do. It's interesting to me that you can deduct that much nuance from this bike.
So go back. Did the guy with the 20-year-old bike, did he get a new bike?
Oh, yeah. He did. Yep. And I think he spent $2,700, $2,800. And again, it's
probably thanked you.
Oh, he was, and his wife thanked me because he was way safer. The bike he was on, the brakes didn't work. The brakes just did not work, and that's a problem.
But it's like Rich says, you say that, like, so us older guys obviously need a full suspension because it's just easier on you. But you go out and there'll be kids out there like a Drop the Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be on a $3 bike from Walmart, hucking it off there like it's nothing.
Which I'm down for that. I'm okay because I was the same way. You know, when I started racing, I had an amazing race bike. It was a Gary Littlejohn, and I could race it at the BMX track. When I came home, my brother got me a special bike to ride. It was a strawberry shortcake, direct drive bike with hard rubber tires.
There's got to be photos of you.
And I had to ride. We haven't found them. I wish there was, because it would be pretty cool to see those. But you talk about those kids, and here it's amazing to think about the opportunity that these kids have. Like, if you think of all the kids growing up here, there's no place like this in the world. There's never been a place like this in the world. They have this amazing opportunity to become the riders that we all hoped we could have been when we were young.
Yeah.
And it's, my son, it's funny because he's a little too young, but the LA Olympics are, 4.5 years away.
12 and a half would be young.
It would be very young. It would be very young. But it was one of those things, because that's going to be a big focus for this place, because USA Cycling now has a home here. So what they're trying
in
to
Northwest Arkansas, which is crazy.
Well, I don't think it is. It makes perfect
crazy
sense.
10 years ago when you go,
yes,
right? Where are we going to put cycling?
Yeah.
I don't know, not Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, and again, you have to take a very almost realistic viewpoint of it, because you got to look at it as they're Colorado based. Well, of course they're Colorado based because you have elevation. Well, anywhere in Colorado can't give them what this place can, except for the elevation. So basing that program here has a major, major upside, but we still have to leverage what those areas with altitude and sustained descent can do. So there's a little bit of give and take with that, but I think the upsides far outweigh any potential negatives. And it's kind of spinning into the industry as well. You're seeing a lot of brands, companies now have a presence here, where 5 years ago, I was privy to some conversations where they were like, not a chance, dude. Like, there's no mountains
Rafa's
there.
headquartered here.
Rafa is one, but more like pure mountain bike brands. Vittoria is a tire company that's here. Specialized opened an experience center here, and they have a few around the country, but they invested heavily in the Ledger for the one they have there. There's a company called YT.
Their
Young
bikes
Talents.
are cool.
Yeah, they have these things called the YT Mill. And so they have one in Surrey in England. They have one in Southern California. And their newest one is here in Bentonville. And it's just, it's really cool that a global brand like that would choose this place to house one of those facilities. And I think you're going to see more as time goes on. And what's great is it's growing, because now it's become a gravel hub. So the mountain biking piece has been cultivated. It's growing. It's kind of this teenager almost. And now they're pouring a lot of effort into the gravel scene, which just around the globe, gravel's exploding.
So do you do gravel also?
I ride bikes, bro. I do everything.
Okay, so you do everything.
Yeah, so what's really cool is, and again, it comes back to this place and these opportunities. There's a show called From the Ground Up. It's basically a reality show. And what they do is they take brand new riders, essentially, and they try to get them ready for Leadville. So Leadville's a 100-mile race at super high elevation, just gnarly. And they've done it for a few years. And last year, Alexi Vermeulen, who heads that up, former world tour rider, now one of the best gravel mountain bike riders in this country, he reached out and said, hey, man, can you guys do the skills camp for us here in Bentonville? We did it. It was amazing.
That's so cool.
We're talking about,
awesome.
24. Oh, it was so fun. 24 is going to be even better. And he's like, yeah, we got to have our phone call. We got some great news for you. So we get on this phone call, and he's like, great news is we're going gravel, and it's going to be Steamboat Gravel is the event. And I just kind of look at him. I look at my wife, and I'm like, what? Why the hell are you talking to us? He says, dude, skills are skills. Like, we still want you to do it. And so it was this quick switch of, hell yeah, skills are skills. And so we did a gravel camp for them. And, of course, we put it all on social media, and all of these people were saying, dude, when's the next gravel camp? We want to do a gravel camp, so we're going to do more of those. And, yeah, I come back to, and I've tried to foster this in my son, ride everything.
Yeah.
You know, this idea or need to specialize in something, I don't think it's the way to go. If you look at a lot of high-level athletes in other countries, they don't specialize until they're a little bit older. Mm-hmm. They try to create athletes and foster a high level of body awareness to start, high-level motor skills, and then see where that leads some of these athletes. And what it comes back to is, if you're a bike rider, if you have the fitness to go do, a crit race on a road bike, maybe a cyclocross race, do a big gravel race, and then go ride an enduro or a downhill sort of thing, like you do that all in 4 or 5 days in a long weekend, that's legit.
Yeah,
like, I would respect that sort of. Yeah,
we did the Headwater Challenge.
Oh God,
Rich, I thought I was gonna die.
That's just.
And there was like, I was just dying on my bike, which is like a Cadillac, and this probably 70-year-old passed me on a single speed, and I was like, I need to just shoot myself right now. And he's like, keep it up, guys.
Got it. Good job, fellas.
It was so hard.
Yeah,
it snowed, and I mean, it was one of those rides that we'll never forget. Yeah. But you think you're ready for something like that, and you go do it, and
you're never ready.
It's so humbling.
Yeah.
And like biking, like there was such a vast, like, the age group of people that bike.
Yeah.
I mean, when I thought I was in really good shape, I was riding over on Kohler, and I thought I was, really good for me.
You were shredding.
And this probably 60-year-old lady passed me in her one piece, and she's like, "Keep it up, you're doing good." And I was like,
"That's the last time you're
doing out here." But it's like, it's crazy because there's always someone better, like, as there is in anything. But it's
definitely
it's just so fun. I made it the point to always ask when we would stop, where people were from, and like you said, now it's half the people, they aren't from here. They're in. And it's crazy because when we think it's hot here, people from Texas and Louisiana, they come here to cool off the ride.
So funny.
And
you're right.
It's just
well, and in the winter too. People they're snowed in, they'll come here, and you see the people from Wisconsin, from Minnesota, from Indiana. Here I look like a sumo wrestler, and they're riding in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, yep, you must be from Minneapolis. Like, oh, weather's beautiful.
Isn't that great?
It's in the 30s and 40s. Yeah.
We definitely have to have Rich come back a second time. We could probably talk for hours, but we're coming up on time, and I do have one last question for you.
Okay. Crystal
ball.
Yeah.
What is biking going to be like here 10 years from now?
Oh, I should have known this was coming. I really don't know. The tea leaves are very murky depending on, I think, where you're looking at them. I'm going to tell you what I hope. I hope that it stays on the trajectory it's on, and that the community continues to grow like it is, because there's some amazing people here, and it's bringing really high-level people in from all over the world. And my hope that in 10 years, it keeps growing, and it's able to offer all of the people that are here now and those people that really want to come here and bring something to this community, that it offers them a place to not just survive, but thrive. It's tough here. It's a grind here in this world, unfortunately. But I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I think there's some really amazing people here that have a lot to offer this community. And I think my hope is that it somehow finds a way to almost curate these positions for these people so they can just keep pouring into the community and support their family and have something for later in life. So,
love it.
Yeah, I think it's, it's the ship is being led by some pretty savvy people, and I think we're gonna get there.
Well, thanks for coming in. Before we go, plug your website, plug your social. Let everybody know how to find you. For those that don't know who you are, the few of us, make sure that you let them know how to get you.
If you go to Instagram, it's The Rich Drew. So I think that's probably one of the best places to go, because it'll give you some insight into what this world is like. It's a very real cross-section of what's happening. My family's cool. It's cool to see that. The Ride Series, mtb.com is the website. So we have a lot of clinics happening in Northwest Arkansas, and we also do private coaching. So the way I describe it to people is riding a bike is really fun. If you're better at it, it gets even more fun. And the fundamental flaw is your instincts as a human being are the worst possible thing for you
on a bicycle.
But we have a patented process to work through those. So yeah, we love to do it.
I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
guys.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Definitely
Had
having me
fun.
back.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.